Everyone ready for Shabbat, to bring in a little bit of peace and calm, even as we say cognizant and compassionate about the happenings in the world. We'll start with a melody, traditional melody for a Bialik interpretation of Shalom Aleichem. And it invites us to remember that the sun is setting, to tune into the cycles of light and dark, and to let the night come with and bring its repose, right? Its stillness. So if you have Shabbat candles and you want to light them with me, at the end of this melody, we'll do a blessing together for candle lighting. The sun on the treetops is no longer seen. Come gather to welcome the Sabbath, our Queen. Behold her descending, the holy, the blessed, and with her the angels of peace and of rest. Draw near, O Queen, abide. Draw near, O Sabbath bride. Peace be unto you, O angels of peace. Hachama merosh, hailanot nistalka. Bo'u v'netzeh likrat Shabbat hamalka. Hine hi yoredet hakdosha habrucha. Ve'ima malachim tzva shalom u'menucha. Boi hakala. Boi hamalka. Shalom aleichem Malachei Shalom. Boi Hamalka. Boi Hakala. Shalom Aleichem Malachei Shalom. You may recognize some of those words in Hebrew. Tzva is the Hebrew word for an army or a host, a troop. And this is reconstructed, this word, by putting it as a tzva shalom, as a troop, an army, imagining these hordes of messengers, of angels, coming for the sake of peace, right? Troops for the sake of peace. And maybe that's what we're seeing with the protests and the marches around the world. There's a time to march and to lift our voices and call for change that is much needed. And there's a time for rest and to recognize and appreciate what is, and to Sabbath, right? To stop, and Shabbat. So if you want to light candles with me, mine are actually already lit, so you can go ahead and kindle them, and then we will offer the blessing together. So this Shabbat, the Parsha, in this cycle is B'ha'alotcha. It is the instruction given by Moses through Moses from God to Aaron and his sons to lift up lights to be a guiding light for the people and to lift up lights. And in that case, they're talking about kindling the menorah that stood in the temple and kindling them each night at dusk to sort of provide a nightlight for God, a sense of comfort and warmth and healing and hope. So you might make a dedication of this coming day and to dedicate it to one of those qualities. The blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. I also have lit a memorial candle. If you have a yard site this week, you may want to light one, or just in memory of those who have passed away recently. So offer a melody for Shalom Aleichem, continuing the welcoming of angels and receiving of blessings, seen and unseen. So you might think of a blessing you'd like to offer yourself or to receive, and to offer if you're in the company, if you'd like to turn to them and offer a silent or a spoken blessing as we welcome these messengers of peace. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Vochem leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And sending blessings out to the wider world. Tzedchem leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Yalala, 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 The traditional Kabbalat Shabbat service has a series of 6 psalms encoded It's this ritual of welcoming Shabbat. Each of them involve natural themes, but the number 6 invites us to reflect on the 6 days of this week that's gone by. It's been quite a week, and I invite you to take a moment to just reflect on the week and to not bypass the moments of challenge and hardship from this week. The struggles that we observed, both out in the world and within. Breathe them in. Allow them to help us connect, deepen our sense of compassion. And as you reflect and go through each of the days, to think of moments of connection and light, strength and optimism. And harvest some of those, right, as we're pulling together our first fruits and gathering grain and gathering blessings heading into Shabbat. And you can weave them into this melody, both the sorrow with the minor chord and the jubilation and joy with the major chord. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la la. Ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la ya la la la, 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 ya la la. Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur chad hishmi'anu el ha'uchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad l'shem u'tiferet ve'litila echad odi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha ki hi mekor haveracha merosh mikedem nesucha sof maseh machshvat techila lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Page 47. On the right and on the left, our support system. ימין ושמאל תפרוצי ואת אדוני תריצי על יד איש בין פרצי ונשמחה ונגילה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה אוי ושלום עטרת בעלה גם בשמחה וצולה תוך אמוני עם סגולה בואי כלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה A psalm for Shabbat. Mizmor Shir Liyom HaShabbat. It's a good thing to give thanks, to speak of your kindness in the morning and faithfulness at night, on 10-string lyre and on flute, with melodies conceived on harp. For you elate me with your deeds. I'll sing about the actions of your hands. How great your deeds have been, Supernal One, your thoughts exceedingly profound. Of this a foolish person cannot know, of this the shallow cannot understand. For though the wicked multiply like weeds, and evildoers or viruses and of contagion from biological to sociological, sprouting up all around, it is for their destruction for all time that you are lifted highly eternally. You raise my horn like that of a triumphant ox, and I'm anointed with fresh oil. My eye shall gaze in victory upon my enemies, on all who rise up against me to do harm. My ears shall hear of their demise. The righteous shall flourish like palm trees, like cedars of Lebanon they grow, implanted in every house and in every park. Amid the courtyards of the one they will bear fruit. In their old age they'll put forth seed, fleshy and fresh they'll ever be, to tell the uprightness of the one, the rock in whom no fault resides. So we're gathering as a minyan, a community for Shabbat. As we do, maybe before I'm going to unmute everybody, so keep the swear words to a minimum. And And just let's go around and just do a brief introduction to see who's in our virtual community, and maybe some new faces and new voices that we want to hear. I'll go in order of who's on my screen. So Fred, if you go first, Fred and Carolyn.
Hey, we're Fred and Carolyn Simon, and we're here in Evergreen, and we've been here 16 years. Hard to believe.
That's right. And the Saltzmans?
You're on mute.
Are we muted?
Not now.
You know.
We lost it. We've been in Conifer for 41 years, and I love where I live.
Thank you, Marilyn and Irv. Alyssa, Robin?
So, hi, Elisa Robin, and I am in Arvada. And I've been in Colorado since 1980, but I've moved in many places in Colorado. So, hi, everybody.
Thank you. Sally?
Sorry.
Oh, Sally Korf, and I live in Evergreen, and I'm about 4 miles from the synagogue. Hi over there, I can see you. And I've been living here for 48 and a half years, and I'm one of the founding members of Beth Evergreen.
Thank you,
My
Sally.
birthday was last Sunday. And 15 years ago, I had a Benot mitzvah, and there were 7 wonderful ladies and a wonderful teacher, thanks to Barbara Morris.
So on my screen next is Ellen and then Elizabeth.
I'm Ellen, and we've lived full-time in Evergreen for just over a year. And probably live closest to the synagogue of anybody.
Thank you. Elizabeth?
I am Elizabeth. I live in Conifer. I've been in Conifer for 5 years, but I grew up in the area. I graduated from Platte Canyon.
And Susan and then Jamie.
I'm Susan Fishman. I'm actually in the mountains of Leadville, and Beth Evergreen was so wonderful to invite me in for Yom Kippur several years ago, and then Rabbi Jamie did a beautiful service for us up at our Episcopal church here in town when our priest and dear friend of mine was battling cancer. And so I started to get your emails, and I'm like, hey, virtually during COVID, I can do this. So thank you for welcoming me. And I will apologize. I don't know how long Shabbat services last, but we do have a local Leadville vigil tonight, so I'll be signing off at 8:15. But nice to meet you all.
Thank you. Thank you. Jamie?
Yes, I have the barking dogs in Conifer. We've been here for 13 and a half years. And if they hear any dogs at all, they're going to bark, so you'll know we're still here. And I think Steve and I have been practicing social distancing for at least 13 and a half years, and I think we have it down.
Thank you. And Lori, and then Mike and Sandy.
Hi, I'm Lori. I live down in Denver, and I've lived in Colorado for about 6.5 years, and I've found a warm, wonderful, welcoming community with Beth Evergreen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mike and Sandy Schneider. We're in Golden. We're going into our 3rd year. And if I remember correctly, it was just about this time, maybe about 2 or 3 years ago, when we came to a service which was outside at that time with Rabbi Jamie and got hooked on Beth Evergreen, and now you guys are stuck with me as your treasurer.
Thank you. Claudia, and then Sarah and Dan.
Oh, yeah. This is Dan and Sarah Friedman. We're sitting here in Lakewood. Usually we would be driving up the hill now, but now we're interneting up the hill. So, hi everyone.
Hey, Friedmans. Okay, Claudia, now you're unmuted.
Oh, thank you. So shalom. I'm from Machu Picchu, and it's a long drive here. I would like to thank Jamie because it's so convenient on Zoom to go from Temple Emmanuel's service to here. It just takes a minute. So, thank you very much. And Jamie is my Kabbalah teacher.
And Ben and Helen. And
We're
then
down in Centennial. We've been in Colorado for nearly 5 years now. I guess 5 years ago, we were in Athens, Georgia, in our biking across the country. And then we came out here a little bit afterwards. But we've been down in Centennial for about 3 years, and we're looking forward to being back in Evergreen at some point.
And happy birthday to Helen tomorrow.
Thank you. Tomorrow.
Yes, Mazel Tov. And Barbara, and then Jay.
Hi, Barbara, and Phil's here as well. We've lived in Colorado since 1996 and joined Beth Evergreen the year we moved here, actually. And as someone else mentioned about what the week has been like and where we live, we have found it both a blessing and somewhat disconcerting to, over the past weeks and months, feel so blessed to be able to work from home and to live in a beautiful place and to still be able to contribute from home, and then feeling, rather distant in light of everything that's been going on, especially the past week or so. So lovely to see everybody's faces.
Jay and Karen.
I'm Jay Kramer, and I was born in Denver a very long time ago. I'm not going to mention how many years. Lived in Lakewood for 7 years to be close to our daughter and her family. And we joined Beth Evergreen a little over a year ago, so I consider myself to still be a newbie, and I'm sure glad we joined.
Thank you, Jay.
Yes.
Karen?
Hi, I'm Karen. I've been in Colorado for about a year and a half now, and in Evergreen for a couple months. I think it was January that we officially moved, so kind of new to the area still a little bit, but loving it otherwise.
Nice. Okay, I think we got everybody. Yes?
Did you say you?
Oh, I'm Jamie. As Sally mentioned, I've been here 15 years next month, and wouldn't have it any other way. Welcoming Shabbat, and then sort of connecting with one another over these core blessings that we choose, many of which there were invitations to speak up for in this past week. So we'll go back to the Siddur and do the Baruch Hu. If you'd like to stand up, but it's optional since it's a virtual minyan anyway.
Need to stand up anyway.
Page 57. So we turn east and connect to all the communities that are gathering, and how lovely that we're gathering from Leadville to Centennial, and broadening our community. Baruch hu et Adonai hamevorach, Baruch Adonai hamvorach, leolam vaed. And you can be seated again, and we'll do a blessing for the cycles of light and dark. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, v'chochma poteach she'arim, u'vidvuna meshaneh itim. With discernment, a divine discernment, you make seasons change and times come and go. Stars, appointed paths, order through heaven's dome, rolling back dark before the light and light before the dark, making day pass away and bringing on the night, and discerning between dark and light, day and night. El Chai V'Kayam Tamidim Loch Aleinu Le'olam Va'ed Baruch Atah Adonai Amari Varavim. Page 63 is a blessing to receive all the love that's out there. We've seen a lot of discontent and dissonance in the world. So we have to remind ourselves that the world is permeated with love, and there's lots of examples to call upon. Avat olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Havta Torah u'mitzvot chukim u'mishpatim otanu limadeta Al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shochbeinu v'kumeinu nasiach bechukecha v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha uv'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed ki hem mechayenu ve'orech yameinu uvahem nege yomam v'layla ve'avadcha lo tasur mimenu le'olamim Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Israel. The 6 words of the Shema described as 6 cities of refuge, places of safety and security. Let's go there and create that space of safety within and around. Page 65. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol meodecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzabecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibat habam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha v'derech uv'shochvecha uv'kumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha ve'hayu letotafot bein einecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha Adonai Elohechem Emet. So in the story of our ancestors, they first left Egypt and tasted freedom, and then they stood at Mount Sinai and received this Torah, this guidebook for securing freedom. So there's one thing to do a declaration of independence, and it's another thing to implement a constitution. And that's what the Micha Mocha in the daily prayers is about when it follows the Shema. Right after we stand at Sinai, Now we have to figure out how to make freedom, right, and protection of civil liberties available to all and sustain that. Michamocha, page 79. Ya Elai, 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 Ya Elai, 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 Ya Elai, 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 Ya Elai, Elai, Michamocha, Bailim Adonai, Mi kamocha nedar bakodesh, Mi kamocha bailim Adonai, Mi kamocha nedar bakodesh. Nora Teilot Osei Fele Nora Teilot Osei Fele Malchutecha ra'u vanecha Bokei hayam lifnei Moshe Zeili anu ve'amru Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed L'nemar Ki vada Adonai et Yaakov Ugalo miyad chazak mimenu Baruch ata Adonai Gal Yisrael. There is the redemption, a freedom, a liberation from oppression and from injustice. And then there's the liberation from our fears and from natural sources of threat. And so we'll offer a prayer, the Hashkivenu prayers next. And it's a prayer for protection, right? A Sukkot Shalom to be spread over us, over Jerusalem, over all peoples. And so we spread that blessing and that prayer for protection over law enforcement, over protesters, over hospitals and hospital workers and first responders, over all those who are exposed in high-risk environments to COVID-19 and who are at risk because of their own fears for themselves and their loved ones. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom. Hashkivenu. Let us and all who are in need of rest tonight lie down in peace and rise up again to life. May they be protected while they sleep. Spread over us your sukkah of peace. Decree for us a worthy daily lot. Let the work that we can do from home and where we go have meaning and have it redeem us and those we hope to serve. Enfold us all under the wings of your protection. Truly, sovereignty, graciousness, compassion are godly. Guard our going forth each day for life and peace, now and always, and may those who hold authority and power use it with compassion and justice and consciousness. Ufros aleinu sukat shalomecha, baruch atah Adonai, hapores sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. Page 85, may our prayers for protection extend to this Sabbath. May our capacity to rest, to still our worries and to stay at home, protect us and those we love. Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat lasot et HaShabbat ledorot berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti leolam oti leolam. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat lasot et HaShabbat ledorot berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz veshamru v'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat lasot et HaShabbat ledorot berit olam. Uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash. Uvayom hashvi'i, and on this seventh day, may we stop and rest, Shabbat and vayinafash, and be granted a new nefesh, a renewed sense of spirit and life. So the Amidah, the standing silent prayer, if you want to take a moment to do the traditional prayer, you're welcome to do that. I would like to offer, since the Amidah, according to Halakha, is not required, but an option, to think of and talk about other ways of taking a stand. And we'll start by sort of taking a stand as we just passed 8 o'clock, unfortunately, but sort of the ritual, 8 o'clock ritual of howling and cheering for first responders and medical professionals. What we will do is to take a stand as a blessing for healing, and healing and protection for those in need. So I will begin the prayer and then add names and offer names. Feel free to unmute or put into the chat names of those that you'd like to include as a prayer for healing. Anna Elna, Anna Elna, Anna Elna, Rivana La, Anna Elna, Anna Elna, Anna Elna, Rivana Lo. Please grant healing of body and spirit to Judy Sherman and Angela Fitzgerald, Edward Cohen, Jeffrey Gerson, Jennifer Smaldone, Cameron Hopping, Ken Schneider, Jackie Stevens, Carolyn Orman, Linda Fogel, Betsy Appel, Jane Conrad, Kate Blanker, Skip Evans, Sandra Burnfield, Terry Noonan, Lawrence Fox, Linda Goldstein, Arnett DeAngelis, Gerald Bloom, Deborah Shibblehut, Scott Lawrence, Sally Feeder, Robin Amadei, Jerry Goldberg, Kate Olson, Adam Giordani, Liz Brengel, Megan Patrick, Marilyn Leader, Jody Laughlin, Bonnie Duchel, Lori Feldstein, and Ron Kleban. Dorothy Regensteiner, Rabbi Sandy Cohen, Stuart Gottesfeld, Karen Trevithick, Ava Diaz, the friends and family members of those who are ill. May they and those who are ill be granted a healing of body and healing of spirit, and let us together say, Amen. So in this week's Torah portion, there is a very severe plague. There's a quarantine in response to contagion. There's a family, a well-known family, right? Moses, Aaron, and Miriam, who seem to be divided over racial tensions, a mixed-race marriage. There's social inequities and abuses of speech. There's a communal gathering space that has to go mobile, that sets on the move. There's horn blowing and howling that gets ritualized. And there's a call for calm and rest, a blessing that's said when the ark is set down and the cloud rests upon it. The people get fed up and they protest. The powers that be get all fiery and angry. Dismay and a sense of helplessness abound. Leaders and elders are called upon to step up and to light the way through a dark time. So these themes may sound familiar. And as we witness what's happening in the world, the pandemic not only highlighting the disparity in healthcare, but also, of course, the economic disparity and the rifts in our society, the social injustices and the economic injustices being highlighted in stark terms, and creating adding fuel to what was sort of a low simmer, so that we now see an eruption, literally, of fire in our midst. So it's hard for us to know sometimes what to do and how to act and how to take a stand. And I wanted to invite some, we have a small enough group that we can take a minute or two to sort of share thoughts about how to exercise our power in ways to contribute to this justice and to address the very real need and the very real concerns that are being voiced. So what can we do? What are we doing, individually and collectively?
I think it's important that a lot of policies need to be changed. And of course, a lot of the people who make those policies are the folks in Congress and the president. And so what we need to do is we need to vote. We need to vote our conscience. We need to get rid of the people who are blocking things. And I think we all know who they are now. It's coming out very clearly every day. So I think voting is very important.
And protecting the right to vote by, mail ballot. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mike. Jamie, did you want to share?
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing. I'm not quite sure how to go about it, but I had a friend a few years ago that made phone calls to people just to mail in their ballot and not to even recommend a position or what have you. But it seems more important than ever that we vote. and it's particularly easy in Colorado to vote just by mailing in the ballot. So I think I'm going to try to figure out how to help with that, even if it means making phone calls and asking people just to send in their ballots without any sort of political position, but rather, exercise your vote. We do have a millennial living with us, so we'll be sure that his ballot gets in. So that's one, but we have a long way to go to make sure that people vote. It's important.
I was going to offer that there's no better time to donate to your favorite charity, especially whether it's Food Bank of the Rockies or Jewish Family Services or whatever you prefer. But some people who have been able to provide for themselves aren't able to provide for themselves, at least for the short term. So good time to do that.
Thank you, Jay. Yeah, food and housing, very real needs out there. Mm-hmm.
Also a good time to read and learn and figure out how to get a better understanding of views that are different from your own, so that you can communicate and talk rationally with people and bring up things that others may not have thought about or paid attention to.
Mm-hmm. Helen, was there something in particular you learned this week that is an example of that?
I had lots of discussions with people who were against the Black Lives Matter movement and saying that Black people don't actually have it that hard, and that it's entirely just economic disparities and that's not racially motivated at all. And having a lot of facts in my back pocket to pull up to say that, well, actually, if you say it's an economic problem, Black households have 1/10 the wealth of white households in this country, even if you account for even if you account for educational degrees and stuff like that. It just having the knowledge of lots of these things helps you understand what's in other people's shoes, whether or not you're actually espousing a certain cause. You can at least understand it and understand why people are passionate about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was going to say something similar, because I think this is a good opportunity for us all to reflect on what we're maybe naive about or ignorant of, and try to educate ourselves so that we can have more empathy and understanding of what people go through that maybe don't look like us and have different experiences than us. I just think it's a good chance for us to kind of look inward and see how can we contribute more to people just having better lives. I know that's a really simplistic way of saying it, but just it's a moment to kind of just say, like, how are we complicit and how can we make that different?
Mm-hmm.
It's also worth noting that it's a good time to read through, if you have laws or parts of the Constitution that you haven't read. Those things are good to go through and take a look at and really have a good understanding of. Speaking of laws that we've set down, read the 10 Commandments, read the Bill of Rights, make sure you understand what these things are and what they mean to you in the current context.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Of the book you were recommending to me.
Oh, yeah, I had Ben read a book this week called Invisible Women that was about how women get left out of a lot of data sets and stuff isn't designed for us. So, like, we're more likely to die in car accidents because car seats aren't women. And lots of stupid things like that, but that's on how it's different for women. There's a whole pile of that.
The broader thing was there are a lot of laws that look very neutral at first glance, so that when you dig deeper into who they impact, whether that's women or people of color or other minorities, there's an uneven burden on white men versus the rest of the world.
A stupid example was Sweden was looking at gender equality, and someone in the council of the city said, Well, thank God snow plowing isn't a gendered issue. They went and looked at it, and they determined that they could decrease the amount of people ending up in hospitals on snowy days by like half by plowing the sidewalks first before they plowed the streets. Because women with strollers and women who are older were walking around on the sidewalks and breaking a lot of hips and things.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to take a look at things and study and think critically and see if there's little things that you can change that make life better. It's tikkun olam.
Thank you, Helen. Welcome, Maureen. You're muted. You're
Maureen and Karen, I just want to say hello.
and Karen, right? Thank you.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom, Maureen.
Shabbat shalom.
Welcome mitzvah today.
And yeah, Mazel Tov on the anniversary. Any other reflections on that prompt about ways that we can take a stand, right, to do our Amidah, to take upon ourselves our responsibility in this? Abraham Joshua Heschel said in the wake of the Holocaust, right, we are not all liable, but we are all responsible. And I think that's the same can be said of racism in this country and the forms of economic injustice.
I'll mention something that I've been noticing recently,
Please.
and that is if you look at our advertising, 50% of our community is minority. And yet, when you look at commercials, there are no black people or brown people, rarely to be seen. So no wonder cops stop black men in Beamers and Audis. So if you have a favorite advertiser and you're watching their commercials and they aren't showing black people and brown people and other ethnics, drop them a line and say, gee, why isn't the rest of my community represented in your commercials? That's something each of us could do. But just to make yourself more aware of implicit bias, watch your commercials and see if it doesn't reflect your world, but not the real world.
Right.
I think we need to take a good hard look at ourselves too. How many friends of color do we have? When's the last time you invited somebody of color to your house for dinner before COVID? So really it starts with us. It starts with each individual. How can we know and be accepting and respectful of others if we don't know anything about their culture?
No, I was reflecting on that with Helen a couple of days ago, that our workplace is not at all representative of the wider world.
And I see lots of color, lots of black and brown and Asian people and mixed race people on TV all the time and on all sorts of advertisements. So I don't know, I'm very aware of it and I see a lot of it. So I don't know, I'm watching a different channel, but that's what I see is a lot of it. In fact, sometimes I think it's even more than I see white people anymore. That's what I see.
Yeah. I think that it's time for it's long past time for the Jewish community, within the Jewish community, to have conversations about how we collectively respond. We have this incredible legacy of Jewish activism during the civil rights movement, and in leadership roles ever since. What might be missing from that is the collective Jew, the individual Jews who are acting on their Jewish roots and their call to justice and committing themselves to social justice work. The collective work is less commonly seen. One of the things that I felt compelled to do was to reach out to the African American church whose choir conductor, gospel choir conductor, has led our gospel choir over the last couple of years.
Yes.
And to see if we can turn the gospel service we have planned in July into an intercongregational weekend, and to build some relationships with that community, and find out from them in what ways our community could support them in a direct way, and vice versa, and what we can learn from one another. It's there are no accidents, right? It's so interesting in the Torah portion how Moses and Aaron speak out against their brother Moses on account of the Cushite woman, is the passage. Cushite is Ethiopia. So the presumption is, there's lots of questions, right? What was wrong? Were they upset because he married somebody who had black skin or dark skin? Were they were they upset because he was neglecting his wife who had dark skin? So it's, the Torah has this wonderful ambiguity, but as a result of their speaking out or speaking against one another and not speaking to one another, the Miriam is stricken with a highly contagious skin disease. And it takes a week of separation for her to heal. So the link between these two events, these two, really traumatic things that are happening are right there in the Torah portion, and inviting a reflection on the interplay. I think for me, what the practice has been to try to notice when I'm feeling like sympathetic overload, and sort of all of the challenges that we're witnessing, and the fear of this pandemic, and the fear of the impacts of the injustice in society and the response to it. It can be overwhelming. And our response to being overwhelmed is often to shut down or to close off our hearts. So to try to keep the heart space open to to what's happening in the world, and the individual and collective suffering that's there. And at the same time to not feel powerless ourselves, because we're not powerless. There are connections that we can weave, small seeds that we can plant, that maybe not in our lifetime, but in the generations to come are likely to bear fruit. That's just the way of the laws of nature. I'm going to share with you, as we prepare to close the service, an interpretive version of Aleinu before we rise and sing it. This is from Rachel Spilker, Rabbi Rachel. It is on us, Aleinu, to bow and praise as a sign of reverence and perhaps submission, to bend our knees only in reverence for life and only for submission to that which is good. Aleinu is on us. The sages teach us that the angels have no knees, that their legs do not bend, they do not need knees, because their entire purpose is to stand tall in service. But we are not these kinds of angels. We bend under the weight of our shoulders. We let the twisted world twist us into knowing that our service comes not only in the form of thoughts and prayers, but in the form of action. Aleinu, it is on us. V'anachnu korim, to bend at the knee. Umishtachavim, to bow at the waist. Lifnei Melech, before sources of holiness. So we rise to repair the very broken world. We stand straight because we can. We stand up because we must. Aleinu, it is on us. We rise before truth to march and move and bend this broken arc toward justice. Aleinu, it is on us. So we bend knees to show reverence. We bow in peaceful protest. To prepare us to move and march, and bent knees are not for killing. God did not make knees or any part of us for that. Aleinu, it is on us. And the word for blessing comes from the word for knees, right? Berkaim is the word for knees, and a bracha, brachot is the word for blessings. So we'll pull up the prayer, page 121 for Aleinu, and we'll sing Ein Od. Ein Od and lo Od. No more avoidable deaths. Ein Od, Ein Od, Ein Od, Ein Od. Aleinu לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוסף בראשית, שנתן לנו תורת אמת, חיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. אין עוד, אין עוד, אין עוד, אין עוד. Bending and bowing. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. אין עוד, אין עוד, אין עוד, אין עוד. כך כתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם. Next page. There we go. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, שמו אחד. אין עוד, אין עוד, אין עוד, אין עוד, אין עוד. If you're saying Mourner's Kaddish, you can remain standing. We'll pull up that and I'll offer some names. I think I left some. So we extend, of course, condolences and mourn with the families within the congregation who are mourning for Morty Vogel, Amy Bourne's father, Sally Gendler, Amy's sister, May Savage, Cindy's mother, Howard Siegmund, our friend, Miriam Klurman, Irene's mother, Susan Goldman, our dear friend and Lisa's mother, and Muriel Roth, Sherry's father. We have other names. Arthur Bernstein, Steve's brother, Vanessa Worthen, Alan's wife, and Jerry Benjamin, father of Ariel. We also, of course, mourn the death of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, Eric Gamer, Michael Brown, Trayvon Martin, among others. And the yard sites are the anniversaries of passings that I'm aware of for this week. Shoshana Herman, Millie Rosenberg, Todd Zillist, Eleanor Deutsch, Hannah Mednikoff Siegel, Abraham Sterensis, Myra Fox, Jim Lawrence, Frederick Weinfeld, Fanny Schiller. And I know that pulling up the chat, Sally wanted to mention Ronald Aaron Fragan. Other names to include?
My grandmother, Genya Schwartz.
Thank you.
My brother-in-law, Dr. Ronald Aaron Fragan.
Yeah, Sally, when we say Kaddish, we don't usually say titles.
I guess I do. Or I did.
Zichronam Livracha, may their memories be for a blessing. We'll offer the Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah. Be'alma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael. Agala uv'izman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach Ilam ulomei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei dekudsha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran be'alma v'imru Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya V'chayim aleinu v'yokol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom. Aleinu v'yokol Yisrael v'yokol yoshvei tevel v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru Amen. Well, everyone, Shabbat Shalom. It's really, really great to see everybody. Hopefully a healthy body and healthy mind are being gifted to you. I want to, as a way of announcements, I want to thank Barbara Morris for her work on this service trip she's been planning for a long time, which unfortunately we're not able to do this summer, but someday soon, I trust, we will have a chance to do that collectively. We had a very successful Shavuot program last week, last Thursday night and Friday. For those of you who were able to tune in, Beth Evergreen was hosting this all-night learning that had hundreds of people on the Zoom and thousands of people that have checked out the Facebook page and bringing together teachers from all across the world. So kol hakavod to this community and Elizabeth, who's on, and Eve and Tara, who were a big part of helping us put that on. So upcoming, we have next Saturday, next Shabbat, is a bar mitzvah of Sam Bierbrauer, and we'll be doing a live stream and Zoom of that service as well. So hope you can tune in and show your support for the Bierbrauer family, as they won't be having guests in the sanctuary, so it'll be nice to see that they have company and support from the virtual community. And 2 weeks from tonight, we'll do a John Denver music service. And if weather permitting, maybe we'll even do it outside with a campfire and ambiance. But we will have a band. We'll have a handful of musicians coming and social distancing and trying to set that up. So hopefully that will happen. And then, as I mentioned before, in July we'll have our gospel service, which will be modified. Unfortunately, doing a full choir is not recommended given the times, but we'll be working with the accompanist and the choir conductor, the gospel conductor Val Robinson, and hopefully with their community as well, the Zion Temple Church in, well, not too far from Colfax and on the east side of town. So, other announcements, Elizabeth, that you wanted to share? No? The other thing is just in terms of our plan for opening up the building, in keeping with the governor's and the county's guidelines, we're planning not to open until the first weekend of July. The staff have been here, but in terms of hosting events for the membership and the community. So in July, we plan to try to do services outside and invite, sort of pre-register a limit of 25 people, social distancing and wearing masks if possible. And if you are planning to come to those, you can just, instead of walking through the building, just go around to the back of the social hall and bring your own lawn furniture so you can set up your chair wherever you feel most safe. And we'll give that a try. And we're sort of, looking for ways to help you all feel connected and have creative Jewish expression within the Jewish community, within our programming. So if you're looking for something, class you want, or a conversation you want to host, or a class you want to teach, or please do let myself or Elizabeth know, so we can just arrange that and coordinate that among us. All right, that's plenty of me talking and singing. Wish you everyone maybe we'll do Kiddush.
Amy, we've got one.
What's that?
We've got comments.
So one thing that I wanted to plug is we've been starting to work on a cookbook as a fundraiser for replacing the kitchen appliances at CBE.
Yeah.
At the moment, we're looking for recipes. So if people have favorite family recipes and stories that you can share about them, we'd love to hear them. Beth sent out a little survey widget that you can fill out in the weekly shul email, and I'm pretty sure you can find it on the shul website as well. So if you have favorite recipes or stories about recipes or tips and tricks for like making latkes or anything.
If you can go on and look at the survey, take 5 minutes and answer the first 5 questions, that would be really helpful to get favorite memories from like latkes, what was your favorite food as a kid, and stuff like that. And if you've got recipes, then go for it after that. And take the 5 minutes and we'll get to see a lot of the community.
And a couple of weeks from now, we're hoping to have a cookbook together that we can start using to fundraise new appliances for the kitchen. So that'll be yet to come. Right now, we're looking for recipes.
I heard that Maureen wants to send her banana cream pie recipe. So make sure you get that in there. All right. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'avav ratzon hinchilanu zikaron l'maaseh bereshit ki hu yom techila lemikra kodesh zecher letziat Mitzrayim. Ki elenu karata, ve'otanu kidashta, la'avodatecha, ve'shabbat kodshecha, ve'ava u'ratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh haShabbat. L'chaim livriut, to health and life. All right, everybody. Great to see you. We'll see you hopefully soon. Excuse me. In different venues. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Thank
Shabbat
you.
shalom.